Now, I have personally done a lot of running events and biking events over the years, with each one giving a very unique challenge in itself. But every once in a while, you'll find an event that not only will push you physically, but it'll also push you mentally. One that you have to have true grit to be able to even finish. And I happen to be taking on one of those events for the third time. So in order to prepare for this event, I wanted to do some upgrades to my Rift Zone. So the first upgrade is going to be this Deore crank set. This should feel a lot more stable going down those rough rocky sections, but also give me that confidence when I'm pedaling up steep hills. The next and the biggest upgrade is going to be the rear shock. I wanted to get rid of the X-Fusion shock to upgrade to a much more reliable RockShox Deluxe Select Plus. This is going to provide that super smooth ride, and I know it's going to be able to handle this challenging race. Now that I've got those upgrades done, there's only one last thing I need to do, and that's head to the race. Now, the BT Epic is held in Missouri, deep in the Mark Twain National Forest, in a small town called Stillville. And this race is going to consist of about 90% single track, with only about 10% of it on gravel roads. Now, the race is held at a campground called Bass River Resort. This campground is massive, and they have just about everything you need before your race. And on Saturday, the day that the race is held, you're going to expect to see 4 different waves that are going to go out from the start line. First is going to be the pro racers, and then you're going to get the single speed riders. After that, you've got your choice of wave 1 or wave 2. Now, on the day of the race, I chose to hang with my crew, and we went out on wave 2. We took a nice easy pedal up the first 4 miles of gravel road. Now, after you're done with that 4-mile gravel road ride, you're going to quickly enter into the single track. And whenever you hit that trail, it feels like you take off like a rocket. This trail is super fast, and you better say goodbye to the road, because this is going to be the last time, except for a 1/4 mile stretch, that you're going to be on any type of road for about 36 miles. Now, there are several aid stations along the way, about every 10 miles, but I like to split this race up into 4 different parts: the gravel road, and then the next single track trail section that's going to take you 22 miles all the way to the Berryman campground. Now, at this campground, you can expect some awesome grilled cheese sandwiches fresh off the griddle. And just like at all the other aid stations, you can expect water, drink mix, some pickles or pickle juice, then some other snacks, and maybe you might even find one that has some whiskey shots. Now, this trail system, in my opinion, is some of the best XC racing trail out there. It's got pretty much everything you could ever want in an XC long distance race. Like fast flowy single track that has rocky sections, rooty sections, river crossings, and fast downhills with challenging climbs, along with some crazy switchbacks on both. And believe me, whenever I say you're gonna earn every single downhill that you get, because there is over 5,800 feet of elevation gain. And by mile 42, your legs are gonna be begging you for the hills to end. But at mile 42 is the biggest mental test of this entire race. At that point, you're going to be going right by the finish line. You can see everybody at the after party cheering and having a good time, people finishing the race. But at 42, you've got another 8 miles to go. And not only that, this is the most challenging section of the entire ride. So you're going to take a mile-long climb up a paved road by Bass Resort up to a gravel road. And this road is not for the lighthearted. It'll hit 20% grade a couple of times. Then once you conquer that, you've got a gravel road that feels like it goes on forever. Once you finish that gravel road, you're at the most challenging section of it all, the single track. Now, whenever I say challenging, this is definitely the most technical. There are a lot of rocky sections in this, with some little ledges that you have to go down. And not only that, the climbs are super punchy and demand a ton out of your already tired legs. And the last 5 miles of the single track feel like 15 miles. But once you have about a mile left, you can start to hear people off in the distance. And let me tell you, hearing people off in the distance at this point in the race has to be the same feeling that somebody stuck on a deserted island feels like if they hear a helicopter coming their way. You know the end is really, really close and you're about ready to be finished. So when you make that long last trek up the grassy section to the finish line of the BT Epic, you may not have a huge crowd cheering you on, but I tell you what, you don't need that, because you know inside your mind you have just conquered one of the hardest XC single track races in Missouri. And if you like after parties, the BT Epic has one of the best after parties that I have ever seen for any type of event I've been to. All right guys, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you at the BT Epic.